welcome everyone. Another video from Limitless Potential Technologies. I'm going to be going over the advanced Bedini motor here in the back and some of the circuitry that you need in order to build them, build slightly more advanced ones, and then build really much more advanced high-end pulse motors that are truly over unity, which we're moving towards. So I'll show you guys what I have going on here. We have our run charge battery, B1, B2, and then we have a battery flip-flop circuit that I built here. And this flops the batteries based on this timer here. So after 3 minutes, which we have it set to now, we have 3 minutes. One battery is the charge battery, and then it flops and it becomes the run battery. And I'm just going to plug this into my machine. You can see I've got the circuitry here, and this timer flops the batteries back and forth. So now we can fire up the Bedini motor, and it will continue to run for quite some time and flop between charging and run batteries. So this is a classic SSG setup, and it uses transistors, N-channel transistors, north pole magnets facing outwards, so the north pole is on the outside of the wheel there, and it's a repulsion mode SSG because when the north pole goes into the coil, there's nothing, and then once it starts to go by, the coil emits another north pole, so it pushes the magnet around. So that's how this one is set up, as a repulsion mode common ground SSG. So I'm going to show you the circuitry behind it. The classic SSG, and I've tried to simplify these circuits as much as possible. I haven't really seen anyone else on the internet draw them quite this way, so hopefully this is helpful to everyone, just to make it as clear as possible. I know sometimes it gets a little convoluted the way people draw these motors. They're not complex circuitry, so let's not get it too over complicated. So we have a run battery and a charge battery, the ground. The main coil is being powered through the run battery, and these are the transistors down here. So what's going on is when the north pole of the magnet on the wheel comes by, it induces a current in the trigger coil, which isn't allowed to take place because of this diode here. Once the north pole of the magnet starts to move away from bottom dead center or top dead center, then it induces the opposite flow into the trigger coil, which is allowed to take place, triggering this transistor here to allow flow from the run battery through the main coil down through the transistor to ground. As this happens, this is the north pole pushing the magnet away that I spoke about earlier. So that's the repulsion. Now as soon as the north pole goes far enough away, the magnet passing by, that it shuts off this trigger coil here, there's an instantaneous collapse in this main coil, back EMF. So the current is flowing this way. The current is going to continue to flow the same way, but it's going to flip polarity and go into the charge battery, which is a little bit counterintuitive, but that's how we're going to think about it for now. So this is where the magic happens, is that collapsing back EMF. There's normal back EMF happening from the coil, but then with a sharp instantaneous spike and a big gradient, there's also kind of a slapping effect on the vacuum or the field that exists within the vacuum. So if we can create a big enough impulse function, the back EMF also includes a nice little spike of vacuum energy. So excess back EMF negative energy is going to go into the charge battery. So that's where the magic happens, and we can debate that back and forth as long as you want, but that's what's taking place. And the key to making these go over unity is getting higher voltage and sharper gradients, quicker switching times, higher frequencies. The more we can do that, the more effective the back vacuum energy, back EMF is going to be. So that's a classic SSG. This neon bulb here, which you can see over there, those are the neon bulbs, is in place between the collector and emitter, and that just is in case there's no charge battery here, and then if the back EMF tried to go into the charge battery and the charge battery wasn't there, it would then flow across and burn out the transistors. So if that happens, it's going to go into this neon bulb instead and through to ground. This is kind of primitive. We can replace this with a flyback diode on the future more advanced versions. And then this is the common ground Bedini, which is how this one in the background is set up. And the only difference between the classic SSG and the common ground is that the batteries are split into a common ground, and there's an additional diode isolating these grounds from one another. So classic SSG, common ground SSG, all the circuitry down here remains the same. And then the more advanced version, which we're moving towards, is going to be an N-channel Mosfet with a Hall effect sensor. So we're going to still have the run and charge batteries, the main coils, the back EMF going into the charge battery. The only difference is that we're going to use an N-channel Mosfet, which we can switch much faster with much higher voltages, and we're going to use a Hall effect trigger. You can use other triggers. We're going to use a Hall effect sensor to trigger it. And I don't have the flyback protection drawn into here, but there will be a flyback diode for the same purpose as the other ones with the neon bulbs, so that you don't burn out your switching circuitry in case the back EMF charge goes through without a charge battery in place. So beginner, slightly more advanced, and more advanced, where we can run higher voltages, higher frequencies, and really take this to the next level where we're getting enough energy to keep the batteries charged while running the rotor and taking power from the rotor. So that's what we're moving towards. This is where we're at right now, which is still pretty sweet. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to making more videos here. I'll explain some of the more inner workings and show you how to build these motors for yourselves, make it very clear. And I'm also going to share where we're moving towards with the next generation of the pulse motor, stepping up the voltages and the frequencies, and showing that these are truly over unity systems. I'm looking for any like-minded individuals to help out. So if you're in North America, honestly, if you're anywhere in the world, I'm sure we can work together and help one another. So leave it in the comments, like and subscribe. I'm looking forward to getting this technology out there and showing the world that it exists and it's real once and for all. Yeah, I love you all. Like and subscribe. I've got a TikTok too, Mad Science 369. Check me out on there. Just trying to get the followers going. I promise I'll make some more videos here sooner than later, guys. And I'll try and keep stepping up the quality of the videos and audio productions coming from Limitless Potential Technologies. So thanks a lot. I love you all.